Okay, let's unpack this. We're taking a deep dive into something that, well, it touches every modern life, doesn't it? Energy independence and having really solid power backup.
Right. It's way beyond just, keeping a few flashlights handy for a short blackout.
Exactly. This is about confronting maybe a profound escalating weakness in the electrical systems we all rely on.
Yeah, the grid itself.
You probably felt it, right? That kind of gut punch when everything just goes silent, the fridge stops humming, the router lights die.
Whole neighborhood just plunged into darkness. It's eerie.
It really is. And it's more than just annoying. It's a stark reminder of how incredibly dependent we are on this infrastructure that seems to be getting, well, more fragile.
And it's not hypothetical anymore, is it? This is happening regularly.
It is. And what's striking, I think, is just how often it's happening now.
Absolutely. Power outages are definitely becoming more common globally, and it's driven by, well, a whole mix of things. Extreme weather, which we know is intensifying.
Hurricanes, wildfires, ice storms.
Exactly. And then there's the grid itself. It's aging, it's struggling to keep up with demand. Plus, you've got these maybe more insidious threats growing. Sophisticated cyber attacks, for instance.
Right. Or even just equipment failing, like that huge Northeast blackout back in 2003.
Yeah, cascading failures. It's complex. And the stats bear it out. The average U.S. customer now faces, over 8 hours of outages a year?
And that's just the average. Some places have it much, much worse.
Significantly more. So the question really isn't if you'll lose power anymore, it's when, and maybe more importantly, for how long.
And that's precisely why we wanted to do this deep dive, because sitting in the dark is honestly the least of it.
Oh, definitely. The real consequences run much deeper.
We're talking real threats, safety, health, just basic connectivity. So we've pulled together some really insightful sources for you today, and we're going to try and uncover why so many of us, stay unprepared even with these growing risks. We'll look at the traditional backup options.
And why they often, frankly, fall short when you really need them.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll get into this newer category of modern off-grid power tech. It feels like a real shift.
It really is a game changer, offering a path towards, genuine energy independence and that crucial peace of mind.
Okay, so let's dig into those hidden dangers first. The stuff that happens when the grid goes down that isn't just, missing your favorite show.
Right. It's this cascade of problems that, honestly, most people just don't think about until it happens. Food safety is a big one.
Ah, the fridge.
Yeah, the fridge and freezer. The FDA says you should toss refrigerated food after only 4 hours without power.
4 hours? That's quick.
It is. Freezer stuff might last longer, maybe 24 to 48 hours, but only if it's packed full, and that window shrinks fast.
But the bigger issue there is medication, right?
That's the critical part. For anyone relying on meds that need refrigeration, like insulin, well, a power outage stops being an inconvenience and becomes potentially life-threatening really, really fast, within hours.
And then you layer on the communication breakdown if you can't even call for help.
Exactly. Our whole communication network, it leans heavily on the grid. Cell towers, they have backup power, sure, but it's limited, often just a few hours.
So in a longer outage.
Your phone might be useless. You can't call 911 easily. You can't check on vulnerable family. You can't get emergency alerts. Think about trying to reach an elderly parent or someone with a medical condition, and the lines are just dead or jammed.
That's terrifying. What about just basic security at home?
Another significant concern. Most home security systems, your garage door opener, even a lot of modern lighting, they all need power.
So they just stop working.
They fail, which creates obvious openings for break-ins. And just trying to get around your own house in pitch black darkness is risky. Plus, when there's a widespread outage, emergency services get totally swamped.
Response times go way up.
Dramatically. For everything, medical calls, fires, security issues. But maybe the most immediate direct danger is for people who rely on medical equipment at home.
Like CPAP machines, oxygen.
CPAP machines, oxygen concentrators, powered mobility aids, home dialysis. For those folks, an outage isn't just serious, it's an immediate medical emergency. They need reliable power right now.
And even if you avoid those worst-case scenarios, it still hits you financially, doesn't it? The hidden costs.
Oh, absolutely. The economic impact can be huge, and people tend to underestimate it. Just one long outage can easily cost you hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars.
How so?
Well, think about it. All that spoiled food in the fridge and freezer, Electronics getting fried by power surges when the grid comes back online, kind of sputtering.
Oh, yeah.
Lost income if you work remotely and suddenly can't connect. Maybe even needing a hotel if your house gets too cold or hot. It all adds up very quickly. These are real, tangible costs.
Okay, so given that scale of risk, it probably helps to know that not all blackouts are created equal. There are different types, right?
Definitely. And understanding the types helps you figure out your own risk and how to prepare. So first, you've got rolling blackouts.
The planned ones?
Exactly. Pre-planned, they rotate through areas, usually for just an hour or two at a time. The utility does it on purpose to stop the whole system from overloading during peak demand, like in a heat wave.
Okay, predictable, but still a major pain. What's the most common type we usually think of?
That would be weather-related outages. These are all over the map. Could be a quick flicker from a thunderstorm, or it could be days, even weeks, after a hurricane, ice storm, or major wildfire.
And those are often the most damaging to the actual grid infrastructure.
By far. They physically break things, power lines down, substations flooded or burn, repairs take time, then you have equipment failure outages.
The sudden ones.
Sudden, unexpected. Could be aging gear just giving out, a transformer blowing up, or those scary cascading failures we mentioned, like the 2003 blackout. That affected millions.
Right. And the last category is becoming more of a worry.
Increasingly so. Cyber attacks and intentional disruptions. These target the digital controls of the grid. They could potentially hit multiple parts of the system at once, and recovery gets really complicated because of the security aspect.
Okay, so we know the risks are real, they're varied, they seem to be increasing. Why then do so many of us just not prepare? It feels like there's a disconnect.
There absolutely is. It's psychology, really. There are these well-known cognitive biases that kind of mess with our decision-making here.
Like what?
Well, the big one is optimism bias. Basically, we tend to think bad things are more likely to happen to other people, not us.
It won't happen to me.
That's the one. So we just naturally underestimate our own personal risk.
And even if we admit it could happen, we figure it won't be that bad, right?
Exactly. That's normalcy bias. We've all been through short outages, the power's back in an hour or two. So we unconsciously assume all future outages will be just like that. Brief, manageable.
Which stops us from prepping for the really bad ones, the days-long ones.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then there's what you might call complexity paralysis. You start looking into preparedness, and there are just so many options. Flashlights, batteries, generators, solar. It gets overwhelming.
So you just put off making any decision.
People delay it indefinitely because they're not sure what's best or even where to start. And finally, there's the obvious one, cost concerns.
Backup power seems expensive upfront.
It can be. So people focus on that initial price tag. What they often fail to calculate, though, is the potential cost of not being prepared during a real emergency. The spoiled food, lost work, damaged gear, which can end up being way higher than the cost of the backup system itself.
Okay, so before we dive into the new stuff, let's quickly touch on what people usually think of for backup power. The traditional go-tos. What are the real drawbacks in a crisis?
Yeah, the common fallback is the portable gas generator. And look, they are relatively affordable up front, and they can power some key things.
Yeah.
But their big weakness, their Achilles heel, is fuel. They need gasoline or propane, and during a widespread emergency. Good luck finding it. Gas stations run out fast, or their pumps don't work because they don't have power.
Right. Catch-22.
Exactly. Plus, they kick out dangerous carbon monoxide. You absolutely cannot run them indoors. So you've got noise outside, maybe security issues, and you can't really use them easily in terrible weather.
And they need maintenance?
Regular maintenance. And honestly, the dirty secret is they often fail to start right when you need them most, especially if you haven't been running them regularly.
Okay, what about smaller things? Battery packs, solar chargers.
Those small battery banks and basic solar chargers are great in some ways. They're quiet, no emissions, low maintenance, perfect for keeping your phone charged, maybe running a small light.
But limited.
Very limited capacity. They just can't handle big appliances like a fridge or freezer, let alone power significant parts of your home. Then you have the basics. Candles and manual tools. Essential for any kit, sure, but candles are a fire risk, and they don't power your CPAP or let you call for help.
And UPS systems for computers.
Uninterruptible power supplies, UPSs, yeah. They're good for giving you a few minutes to save your work and shut down your computer safely when the power flickers, but they are absolutely not designed for long outages or powering anything substantial. They just bridge a very short gap.
So that paints a picture of the traditional landscape with all its limitations. But this is where things get really interesting, right?
Yeah.
It feels like we're seeing a major leap forward in this technology.
That's exactly right. We're moving beyond those compromises. What's truly making modern off-grid power a game changer is, first and foremost, advanced battery technology. Specifically lithium iron phosphate batteries. LiFePO4 is the chemistry. Compared to the old lead-acid batteries, these are transformative. They have an incredible cycle life, thousands of charges and discharges.
So they last much longer.
Much, much longer, often 10, 15 years or even more. And critically, you can discharge them almost completely, down to nearly 0%, without damaging them.
Which means you get to use more of the stored power.
Exactly. Plus, they charge way faster and deliver consistent, strong power right through the discharge cycle. That's vital for running sensitive electronics properly.
So it's not just about how much power they hold, but how durable they are and how effectively you can use that power.
Precisely. And another huge innovation is intelligent power management. These new systems have sophisticated electronics built right in. They automatically manage how the power is used. They can prioritize essential things.
Like keeping the fridge running before the TV.
Kind of, yeah. They optimize battery life. It makes them incredibly user-friendly. You don't need to be an expert. For many uses, they're almost plug and play.
Okay, but the big question during a long outage, how do you recharge them when the grid is down?
That's key. They offer multiple flexible charging options. You can usually charge them from a standard wall outlet when power is on, obviously, but also from your car's accessory port, and most importantly, from solar panels.
Ah, solar. That's the independence part.
That's the real independence ticket. And often, you can use multiple charging sources at the same time to speed things up. And maybe one of the biggest practical advantages, especially compared to gas generators, they are silent.
No noise.
Virtually silent. Which is huge for just your own peace of mind, not annoying neighbors, security at night. And crucially, it means you can safely operate them indoors. No fumes, no ventilation worries.
You mentioned this term, the ultimate off-grid generator. Can you kind of define what that category represents? It sounds like more than just a big portable battery.
It absolutely is. Don't just think battery pack. Think of it as a complete integrated energy independent system designed specifically for serious emergency preparedness, but also capable enough for, say, off-grid living situations.
And the capacity is significant.
Massive power capacity. We're seeing portable units now ranging from around 1,000 watt-hours, which is substantial, up to over 6,000 watt-hours. That's enough to genuinely power essential appliances for days, not just a few hours.
Can you give an example? Like, what could a mid-range one run?
Sure. Take a, say, 3,000 watt-hour system. That could comfortably run a full-size refrigerator for maybe 15, even 20 hours straight. It could charge dozens of phones and tablets, keep LED lights on for days, and critically, operate something like a CPAP machine reliably for multiple nights.
That capability for medical devices alone seems huge. What about the quality of the power? Is it safe for sensitive stuff?
Excellent question. That's another hallmark of this category. They produce pure sine wave output. This is clean, stable electricity like you get from the grid normally.
Not like the dirty power from some generator.
Exactly. It's essential for sensitive electronics computers, modern TVs, medical equipment, even new appliances with digital controls. Pure sine wave prevents damage that can happen with modified sine wave inverters or the fluctuating power from gas generators.
Okay. And recharging speed. If the power comes back on briefly or the sun comes out.
That's another major advantage, rapid recharge capability. Old battery systems might take 8, 10, 12 hours to fully charge. These advanced LiFePO4 systems, often they can hit 80% charge in just an hour or two plugged into the wall. Wow.
And with decent sunlight and enough solar panels, you might get a full charge in, say, 4 to 6 hours. That quick turnaround is vital during an ongoing intermittent outage situation.
And what if your needs change? Say you add more appliances you want to back up later.
Good point. Many of the top systems offer modular expandability. This means you can actually connect multiple units together. You can double or even triple your total power capacity down the road if your needs grow or your budget allows.
So it's future-proofed in a way.
It offers that flexibility, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a significant benefit when you're making an investment like this.
Okay, let's make this really concrete. Can you paint a picture? How does having one of these ultimate off-grid generators actually play out in a real emergency?
Sure. Let's imagine an extended winter storm, like we've seen, hit various places, knocks out power lines. Maybe the utility says it'll be 5-7 days to get everyone back online.
Oh, with one of these systems, sized appropriately, you keep your refrigerator running. Food doesn't spoil, vital medications stay cold. You have essential lighting in key areas of the house. Maybe your internet router stays on, so you have communication and news.
Keep the heat going.
You can power essential heating components, like the blower fan on a furnace, to prevent pipes from freezing. Critical medical devices, of course, operate without a hitch. Basically, while your neighbors might be struggling in the cold and dark, you're maintaining a safe, reasonably comfortable, and functional home.
Okay, flip side. Summer heat wave.
Extreme heat wave emergency. Utilities are doing rolling blackouts to stop the grid from collapsing. Your system kicks in. You can run an air conditioner, maybe a window unit during the hottest part of the day. Keep fans going. Keep the fridge cold for drinks and food. And again, power those medical devices, which can be even more critical in extreme heat.
What about people working from home? That's so common now.
Huge application there. For the work-from-home professional, a power outage usually means lost productivity, maybe lost income. This system ensures your internet modem and router, your computer, monitors, maybe some essential office lighting, they all stay powered. You can keep working, meet deadlines, protect your livelihood.
And for those with serious health needs, it sounds like it really is a lifeline.
It truly is. In a medical emergency scenario, this tech provides potentially life-saving reliability. It can power a CPAP machine for night after night, keep an oxygen concentrator running during a long outage, ensure medical refrigeration for things like insulin is stable, keep phones charged for emergency calls or telehealth consults. It changes a potential crisis into something manageable.
Now, you mentioned solar integration. That feels like the key to true energy independence, breaking free from relying solely on the grid or stored battery power.
That's exactly it. It's about creating your own resilient little energy ecosystem. The seamless connection to solar panels is what unlocks that.
How does that work in practice?
Well, during daylight hours, especially sunny ones, the solar panels can do two things at once. They can directly power your home's immediate needs, maybe run the fridge, charge laptops, and simultaneously recharge your off-grid generator's batteries.
So you're generating and storing simultaneously.
Right. With enough solar panel capacity and battery storage, you could potentially run indefinitely off-grid, as long as the sun shines reasonably often.
So you're not just drawing down stored power, you're actively making more.
Precisely. Any extra solar power you generate beyond your immediate needs gets stored. That's the energy banking part in the system's batteries. You use that stored energy in the evening, overnight, or on cloudy days.
And some systems can even interact with the grid.
Yes. Many of the more advanced systems now offer grid tie capabilities. This is really interesting. It means when the grid is up and your solar panels are generating more power than you need and your batteries are full, the system can actually feed that excess power back into the grid.
And potentially lower your electricity bill.
Potentially lower it significantly or even eliminate it in some cases, depending on your usage and local utility policies, all while still providing that full backup capability when the grid goes down.
What about portable solar?
And for ultimate flexibility, yes, there are highly effective portable solar panel solutions designed to work directly with these generators. Perfect for camping, outdoor events, or even if you need to evacuate and take your power source with you.
Okay, beyond the resilience, the peace of mind, let's talk dollars and cents. Is there a solid economic case for investing in this level of energy independence?
Absolutely. When you look beyond the upfront cost, the economic argument becomes very compelling. Think first about the avoided losses. We talked about the cost of an outage, spoiled food, maybe damaged electronics, lost work time, potential hotel stays.
Hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars.
Easily. A good ultimate off-grid generator could literally pay for itself by preventing those losses during just one or two significant outages. So you shouldn't really view it as just an expense. It's more like an insurance policy that actually provides tangible returns.
An investment that pays you back?
Directly and indirectly, yes. And if you integrate it with solar, you're looking at significantly reduced energy bills over the long haul, the 10, 15, maybe 20-year lifespan of the system. That often more than offsets the initial investment over time.
Plus no fuel costs?
Critically, no ongoing fuel costs, unlike that gas generator you have to keep feeding. And there are other potential benefits. Homes with reliable backup power and energy independence features. They often have higher property values. Buyers increasingly value resilience.
Insurance might care too.
Possibly. Some insurance companies are starting to offer discounts for homes with verified backup power systems because, well, they mitigate risks and reduce potential claims from outage-related damage.
Yeah, when people hear powerful system, they might picture complicated, messy installation. What's the reality for these modern units?
That's actually one of their strengths, the flexibility in how you deploy them. Many, even high-capacity ones, are designed as true portable solutions. No installation needed. You charge it up, you wheel it where you need power. They usually have built-in wheels, handles.
So just plug things into it?
Pretty much. But you can also do semi-permanent installations. Set the unit up in a garage or utility room, maybe have an electrician wired into specific critical circuits in your home through a transfer switch.
So it kicks in automatically for those circuits.
Right, but you could still potentially disconnect it and take it with you if needed. It maintains some portability.
And for full house backup?
Whole home integration is definitely possible with the more advanced setups. They can connect directly to your main electrical panel, again, usually via a transfer switch, and provide automatic backup for the entire house. Or you can configure them to prioritize just the essential circuits to make the battery last longer.
And solar integration.
For solar integration, you'd typically want a professional assessment. They can look at your roof, your energy usage, your location, and design an optimal solar array and system connection. The key takeaway is there's a range of options, from simple portability to fully integrated systems.
Okay, let's talk maintenance and lifespan. We know gas generators need constant tinkering. How do these modern systems compare?
Huge difference there. They require minimal maintenance. That's a major selling point. No oil changes, no spark plugs, no fuel stabilizers, none of that regular upkeep that gas generators demand.
How do they manage the battery for long life?
They have sophisticated battery management systems, or BMS, built in. These are crucial. They automatically control the charging and discharging, balancing the cells, preventing overcharging or deep draining, basically, optimizing everything to maximize the battery's lifespan and keep it performing at its peak for years.
So the system kind of manages itself.
To a large extent, yes. Many also have self-monitoring capabilities. You can often check the system status, charge level, power flow, even run diagnostics right from a smartphone app.
Like managing other smart home devices.
Exactly. And just like your phone or computer, they can often receive firmware updates over Wi-Fi. These updates can improve performance, add new features, or enhance compatibility over time.
And the core components, the batteries themselves, how long do they realistically last?
These things are built to last. They use high-quality, often commercial-grade components. The Life POA4 batteries, in particular, are typically rated for thousands of charge cycles. We're talking 3,000, 5,000, sometimes even more full charge-discharge cycles, while still retaining 80% or more of their original capacity.
Which translates to?
Translates to many, many years of reliable operation. A decade, 15 years, potentially even longer, depending on usage patterns. It's a long-term investment.
Beyond all the personal benefits, there's an environmental angle here too, right? This feels like a cleaner approach.
Oh, absolutely. Choosing one of these modern systems, especially paired with solar, is a significantly more environmentally responsible choice compared to fossil fuel backups. First, zero emissions operation.
No exhaust fumes.
None. No carbon monoxide, no particulates, no nasty smells, just clean power. That means cleaner air right in your immediate environment. And when you bring in solar energy integration, you're creating a genuinely renewable energy cycle. You're directly reducing your reliance on fossil fuels.
And it even helps the grid, potentially.
Yes, by generating and storing your own power, especially during peak demand times, you reduce the strain on the central grid. That grid often has to fire up less efficient, dirtier peaker plants during those high demand periods, so using your own stored energy helps lessen that need.
And they last longer, so less waste.
Exactly. Long-term sustainability. Because these systems, particularly the batteries, have such long lifespans, it means fewer replacements over the years, less manufacturing impact, and ultimately less electronic waste compared to solutions that wear out much faster.
Okay, so if someone listening is thinking, all right, I'm convinced I need to look into this, how do they figure out which system is right for them? There seem to be a lot of options.
It really comes down to assessing your specific needs carefully. First step. Capacity considerations. You need to figure out how much power you actually need.
Have you do that?
Make a list. What are the absolute essential devices you need to run during an outage? Fridge, freezer, medical equipment, sump pump, lights, internet. Then find out their wattage, it's usually on a label, and estimate how many hours you'd need them running per day.
So you calculate your daily watt-hour needs.
Exactly. For a typical household wanting to cover essentials for maybe 24 hours, you might be looking in the range of 2,000 to 4,000 watt-hours, maybe more. That gives you a target capacity. Then, Think about portability versus capacity. Do you absolutely need to be able to move it easily, take it camping? Or is it mainly for home backup, where maximum stationary power is the priority?
That's a trade-off sometimes. What else should be on the checklist?
Charging speed is important. If you expect frequent but shorter outages, being able to recharge quickly when the power flickers back on is key. Look at expansion options. Can you add more battery capacity later if your needs grow? That modularity offers great future flexibility.
And the user experience stuff.
Definitely consider the integration features. How easy is the smartphone app to use? Does it have the right types of outlets you need? Standard AC, USB-A, USB-C, maybe a DC car port? And if you're thinking whole home, how easily does it integrate with a transfer switch and your existing electrical panel?
So if you boil it all down, what's the core advantage of this ultimate off-grid generator category compared to trying to piece something together yourself?
I think the biggest advantage is the all-in-one design. You get the advanced battery, the sophisticated power management, the multiple charging inputs, the pure sine wave inverter, all integrated into one seamless, user-friendly unit. You're not trying to match different components.
Less complexity.
Much less complexity. And you get proven reliability. These are typically built with high-quality, often commercial-grade components, and they're tested for tough conditions. Good manufacturers also provide comprehensive support, clear manuals, responsive customer service, solid warranties. And you're investing in future-proof technology. These companies are constantly innovating, so you're getting the latest, most efficient battery tech and energy management features.
This whole deep dive really makes a powerful case for taking energy independence seriously. It feels like the question really isn't if you'll face another outage,
but if you'll be ready when it happens.
So for our listeners, what's the practical takeaway, the call to action?
Okay, first step. Do that realistic assessment. What does your family absolutely need during an outage? List the devices, figure out the power draw, estimate the duration you need backup for. That gives you a target.
Then budget.
Then think about the budget. But remember, weigh the upfront cost against the potential, often much larger, cost of not being prepared, the spoiled food, the lost work, the hotel bills, the sheer hassle and stress. View it as an investment in resilience, like insurance for your household stability.
And think long-term.
Absolutely. This isn't a disposable gadget. Choose a quality system that's built to last, maybe one you can expand later. Think about reliable service for a decade or more. It's a foundational investment in your family's safety and comfort. And finally, plan how it integrates. Does it stay portable? Do you wire it into critical circuits? Are you planning for solar now or maybe down the road? Think about how it fits your overall preparedness plan. Beyond all the specs and the economics, there's something else that's incredibly valuable, maybe even priceless. And that's the peace of mind.
Right, just knowing you're covered.
Knowing that your family will be safe, they'll be relatively comfortable, they'll stay connected, even when things go sideways outside, that's huge. Knowing the meds in the fridge are okay, the heat or AC essentials can run, you can make a call if you need to. You really can't put a price tag on that level of security.
Sleeping better at night, literally.
Literally. And that peace of mind, it goes beyond just standard power outages. Having that energy independence means you're just fundamentally more resilient, more prepared for a whole range of potential disruptions or emergencies. It empowers your family.
So the bottom line is, the next power outage is coming. It's not if, it's when. And the only real question you need to answer is, will you be ready for it?
Your family's safety, their comfort, their ability to function during an emergency, it really depends on the choices you make now.
Don't wait until the lights are already out to wish you'd done something. The time to really think about this, to make informed decisions about your energy independence, is right now, while the power is still reliably on. Because ultimately, an ultimate off-grid generator, well, it's not just a piece of equipment.
It's your family's lifeline to safety, to comfort, to connectivity when the world outside goes dark.